Hello, soul family. Hello, soul tribe. I hope you are good. Yeah, welcome to this channel where we heal and integrate because consciousness is the new frontier. We are healing and integrating, not because we believe there's anything wrong with us, but we want to align. We want to align with all of life. We want to align with God's plan and mission for our lives. We want to make sure that we are fully activated with regards to what it is that we are here, the purpose that we are here to fulfill. We want to activate that blueprint mission of ours that we took on when we said, yep, we're going to that planet. All right. So I'm talking to you, Indigo, Seeker, INFJ. I'm talking to you, Empath, Seeker of Truth, you revealer of light. Yes, you, the royal priesthood, the chosen generation. I'm talking to you, the one who's the light on a hilltop, right? You are a city on a hilltop. Your light cannot be hidden. I'm talking to you. You are welcome. Right? You are welcome. You starseed, you Andromedan, maybe you Pleiadian as well. All of you, you are welcome. Right? So today we are going to be talking about the Third World War. Most importantly, we're really going to be addressing how to win this war. Okay, I'm literally doing this video for the second time. And I'm not into doing videos several times. So yeah, but let's just dive right into it. I'm gonna try to make it short this time around because previously it had gone to over 30 minutes. So yeah, the Third World War. Hey, the Third World War. We want to look at how to win this war because we need to win this war. But guess what? We've already won it. We've already won it. Our victory is guaranteed, literally guaranteed. So this is not a siren call. This is not, a video for us to panic about what is happening in society right now. In fact, the mere fact that we are at war, for me as a spiritual practitioner, is an indication that we are actually doing very well, because anytime there's war from the opposing forces, you know that they are reacting to some kind of discomfort, some kind of raised vibrational frequency, right? So it's a reaction towards a vibrational frequency, a collective vibrational frequency that is currently taking place. So that's why I'm just, very excited. We are all going through a lot at the present moment. We are going through a transition as humanity. We are faced with many, many challenges, many opposition or many opposing aspects of life, and we are having to, work through all of those things. But none of that changes anything. All right, it doesn't change anything that is happening in the realm of the spirit. So I've done a video previously about the fact that we have transitioned and we are still transitioning from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. And obviously, the age of Aquarius is a spiritual age, right? It's a very, very spiritual age, is an age of spiritual transparency. What that means is really, the fact that dark forces who typically operate in hiding, right, are no longer going to be able to hide anymore because there's not going to be anything hiding them anymore. Why is that happening? Because the previous dispensation was sort of like a dark age for humanity, right? So, and in the darkness, a lot of things can easily hide. But this is an age of light that we have now entered into. And that being the case, the opposing forces will have to work very, very hard to keep themselves hidden, one. Two, to also keep humanity enslaved as it has, held them enslaved, held humanity in slavery for so long. And who are the opposing forces here? First and foremost, the opposing forces are spiritual forces. All right, this is the unconscious aspect of life, and it was absolutely supported by the previous era because it was a dark era, so darkness prevailed. So if you are a force of darkness, or if you are working for the dark forces, then you will definitely prevail in that era. But that's no longer the case, right? And this is where uh, you know remember, this is not a Christian concept, right? Don't ever mistaken anything that I say that has to do with Jesus Christ to be a Christian thing. Okay, it's a conscious thing, and Jesus Christ does not belong to an institution. Jesus Christ is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, even according to the Bible, never even had a church. So let's be clear about that. But this is where Jesus Christ becomes very important, because Jesus Christ is very much symbolic of this particular age. Everything that he did according to the Bible, and yes, we're not going to argue about where the Bible comes from, who gave us the Bible, and all of that. That can be another video for another time. But the fact remains, from a spiritual perspective, there is very, very important role that the character of Jesus, whether you take it as an archetype, as a spiritual archetype, or whether you take it like literally as this was a human being that existed, or whether you just, I don't know how you want to take it, but the fact remains that the whole symbology of it is significant for this day and age. Why? Because what Jesus Christ did, or what the Christ did, I will just refer to the Christ, but I don't have a problem with the word Jesus Christ, or using the name Jesus, right? So what happened there is he came to show human beings what it's like to be God incarnate, right? And how to win the war against darkness. That's what Jesus Christ did. And not only did he show humanity how to do that, but he did it. He said, you know what, guys, guess what? Don't worry. Is it tough out there? Y'all are struggling to, rise a little bit higher. Don't worry. I got you. I got you. And he came to this planet. He walked this earth, whether you take it literally or not, right? That's up to you. And then, he went through the motions. He was crucified, and he rose to glory, right? What that means for us as human beings is that our victory has been guaranteed. And let's look at the fact that, I don't know if it's a few days or a few months after, I don't recall very well, but there was a time when those disciples were busy praying somewhere somehow, and then tongues of fire happened and all of that. You are welcome to read about it in the Bible. That was the second coming of Christ. So the second coming of Christ did not happen, is not going to happen like next year, is not trying to happen now, it's not happening in the future somewhere. It has already happened. It happened there and then, shortly after he passed away, or he died during that time, whether you take it literally or not. Once again, it doesn't matter, right? That's just the awesomeness of it. It's just amazing like that. Like, it's like, whether or not you believe in this guy, he's just awesome like that. So then now, previously only few people were able to tap into the finished works of Christ. That's what it's called, right? Few people who were able to remember who they are as the divine human spirit connected to the Spirit of God, one with God, one with all of life, one with all that is. People who have been able to remember that have been able to tap into this Christ frequency, because it is a frequency. And and that happened previously that way, it being only few people, because once again, it was a very, very difficult thing to accomplish. It's an initiation. It's a Christ initiation. That's what it's called. It's called a Christ initiation. right? It's a christening, a real christening. So that happened. It was difficult, but the few people managed to get it. The rest really struggled. And so now what has happened is that with the age of Aquarius, the vibrational frequency of the earth has increased significantly. The vibrational frequency of the sun, of the entire cosmos, literally. You should see the moon these days. Guys, you should see the moon. You should see the moon. Okay. You will know. You will know that we are not existing in the same, paradigm that we used to exist in previously. Like nothing is what it used to be before. Okay. So the entire cosmos has conspired together with spirit and everything else to make sure that we as human beings move out, whether we like it or not, of our current limited perceptions, of our current enslaved mentality. All right. We are being forced to come out of it. We are going to come out of it, cry, kicking and screaming, or voluntarily, but it's happening. It's already happening. Okay. Why is this happening? Because remember, when I know that, this whole evolution thing, the evolution theory, especially this Darwinian evolution theory, which is probably also a distortion. And it's probably not even what Charles Darwin himself said, about the fact that we seem to be just a number and, it's a survival of the fittest. None of this that is accurate. Hey, from a spiritual perspective, none of that is accurate. We are the divine human spirit. We are connected to the Spirit of God, and God does not make mistakes. So anytime a human being comes to this planet, that means there is a divine mission that God decided they want to fulfill on this planet through that particular person. All right. So now, however, the opposing forces which have been working through human beings in the previous dispensation, and they still are working through human beings even now, trying to preserve them, whatever bit of authority they still have left from a spiritual perspective. What it has been doing all along is just keeping humanity in a state of fear, in a state of limitation, in a state of distorted perception, in a state of disconnection and confusion, so that humanity does not know who it is, so that humanity does not understand its connection, and basically so that humanity is stripped of its power. And what better way to do that if not through wars, like literal wars, if not through through separation, divisions, racial divisions, gender divisions. I mean, let's face it, remember, we are dealing here with the Third World War, because we are in the middle of the Third World War, right? We are in the middle of the Third World War. And how do we know we are in the middle of the Third World War? Because everyone is fighting with everyone. Not only is everyone fighting with everyone, but they are fighting with themselves, also within themselves. Internally, there's a conflict. I've never seen so much anger in the world. I mean, over the years, it seems to have just been getting worse and worse, right? But I get it. I get it. Because human beings are literally squeezed into a smaller and smaller and smaller box of existence with each year. All right. And, God is God. You remember, the opposing forces don't know God. They only exist in the fourth dimension. Okay. So they don't have any access to any higher dimension than that. They don't have access to the fifth, sixth, seventh, and all the other higher dimensions. So they see all the powers that they have access to within the fourth dimension. And it's a lot of power, of course. But still, it's nothing compared to who God is. I mean, we're talking about an entity that is able to hold, that is not able to, that is holding all of creation in place, for as long as we've all existed, right? So Those that think they are smarter than this force have another thing coming. So I do feel sorry for them in that regard. But nonetheless, um, what happened here is that then source has its control mechanisms in place to say, okay, when we reach this particular point in time, this is how we're going to do things, so that, once again, remember, this is God here, who has a purpose for everything that, he, it, she, them, they have created, right? So God has created everything that exists for a reason. And for a little while, it can go astray and not fulfill its mission and do whatever it is that it's, killing children all over the world. Uh, you know, I mean, all these horrible things that human beings are being subjected to, right? That it's something that human beings can do for only a short space of time, for as long as we have been doing them, right? As long as humanity has been doing all these things, yes. But now, Spirit is like, we're changing things around, we're turning things around, because it's time for the true mission, the true purpose of humanity to be fulfilled, right? How many people have died without even knowing what it is that they are here to do? And do we think God is like, oh, yeah, whatever, that's right, that's okay, whatever, it's not important? No, God is like, oh, okay, oh, is that okay? Fine, you'll come back again, and then this time around, you'll definitely get it right. All right, that's really what it is. And even all these opposing forces that seem to be, they're either going to have to change direction, do the right thing, or they will have to be um, basically just recycled back to source. But they will not prevail. That's for sure. That's a sure thing. They will not prevail. They cannot. The victory has already been won through, uh, you know, a lot of effort that the ascended masters have put in. An example of those is Jesus Christ, because through Jesus Christ, what humanity experienced is literally that salvation. Because not only did Jesus Christ give humanity an example of what it's like to conquer darkness, but he also literally guaranteed that victory for human beings, because he literally, it was like, okay, human beings, this is what it means to be God incarnate, right? You come here to this planet, you connect with the divine purpose, and then you fulfill it. And then, you rule and reign with God, right? So he overcame all of that for human beings. So he fought and won the battle as a human being, not as a god, as a human being. Okay, so that we too can fight and win the same battle. And when we enter into the ring, which we entered into it from the minute we were born into this world, when we enter into the ring, we have already won the battle, and we might struggle several lifetimes, as has been the case previously, but eventually we win. We win the battle when we remember who we are and remember what Christ did, in us. Because remember, that victory that Christ won, it registers in the cells of every human being. So I know there's this notion that says you have to belong to a particular institution in order to benefit from what Christ has done. That's not accurate. That's not accurate at all. You don't have to, you literally just have to be human to benefit from what Christ has done. So, and it's not only, Christ who has been, who has done amazing things for human beings. There are many other ascended masters. I'm making reference to Christ because this is a dominant theme for this era that we are going through. And even the Christ, because through human beings, you will notice that it will definitely begin to feel like the Christ has returned. And so what you will notice as well is that it's not going to be your typical Christian institution type of Christ that you will be witnessing, right? But it will be a very different kind of a Christ. Um, and that's because this will be a kind of Christ that is not narrow-minded, you know. It's not a narrow-minded projection of a particular institution, but rather it encompasses everything, right? um yeah, so that's that. I hope I covered the fact that we are in a spiritual warfare. We know that we are in a spiritual warfare because everyone that can fight with anyone about anything is fighting with someone. So we are literally dealing with a third world war right now. We are in the third world war. All right, so we've covered that one, right? And let's just quickly cover this one, the fact that we are, what's the word, the fact that we are actually what's this, we are fighting a spiritual warfare. That's what I was looking for. We are fighting a spiritual warfare. That so this third world war, as much as it looks like it's a technological warfare, or it's, you know, war that has to do with, you know, corrupt politicians doing this and that, all of that is true. You know, it has its own, it's factual. Let's just say that, you know, we've seen it. Conspiracy theories have been proven to be true here and there, and, you know, accurate basically. But before it is any other kind of war, it's actually a spiritual war. Remember, everything starts first in the spirit before it happens in the physical realm. So this is why it's important human beings know who they are as spirit, because if you win any battle from the spirit realm, then you are good, right? As opposed to winning a battle just only at the surface level. So it's a spiritual warfare, and it's a war against consciousness. Please get this. It's not a war against anything else. It's not a political war. You know, as much as it looks like it's a political war, because opposing forces would have us believe that this is a political war. It's not it's a spiritual war. It's a war against consciousness. It's a war against awareness. It's a war that is meant to keep human beings distracted through fear, through, you know, just being preoccupied with a whole lot of things that are going on in the world. It's to keep human beings boxed and limited and just enslaved. Why is it that it's important for human beings to remain as slaves? Because as long as human beings don't know who they are, and they are disconnected and, you know, just operating in a crazy world, then they won't know who they are. And as long as they don't know who they are, then they're not going to, you know that some of the things that they're actually being subjected to are not necessary. You know, they won't know that it's actually possible to overthrow the current leadership right now that is very much like abusive parents. They won't know that, you know, because they will continue to see themselves as, you know, small limited entities. All they will know about themselves is, you know, the body and the mind. They will not know the spirit, and they will not know anything that the spirit is capable of, right? So that's the challenge. And you know, for as long as, you know, human beings don't know who they are as the divine human spirit, and are subject to all these limited and distorted perceptions, what happens is then the opposing forces, you know, continue to enjoy the authority that it has over human beings, and to keep human beings in oppression. And not only that, understand this, there's energy that the opposing forces receive from the pain of human beings. Okay, because remember, the human beings that seem to be, any human being that seems to be working for an opposing force is really working for a dark fourth dimensional entity, whether they are aware or not. They are working for a dark fourth dimensional entity, and that entity is basically an entity which either could have been a human at some point or not, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just know that it's there and it exists. Okay. From sort of like a technical perspective, I know that it's an unconscious aspect of life. That part I get. All right. But I don't know how to explain it in a way that human beings can understand, because language can be limited. And, English is not my first language. Not that I would have done a better job with my own language. But you get my point. So that dark aspect is disconnected from God, right? And it being disconnected from God means that it's not able to generate life force on its own, vitality, this gusto, this zeal for life, this motivation for it's not able to basically accomplish anything. It literally feels like it's dying as long as it's disconnected from God. So how is it going to survive? It needs to steal energy. How does it steal energy? Through human beings. So that's why Paul said we are wrestling, we're not wrestling flesh and blood, we are wrestling principalities in the spirit realm. This is the force that he was referring to, because how this force operates is that it comes in through, for example, thoughts, it comes in through feelings, it comes in through experiences. It orchestrates things. It's a master illusion. It's a master magician, something like that. But it's all about illusion, right? So it thrives in illusion, which is why this is a very precarious time for it right now, because the light is shining so bright that it's so difficult for it to hide its own tricks, right? Every time it pulls a stunt, it's like, but wait a minute, we can see something there. There's a spoon, just hanging out there behind that thing there. What's going on? That's really what's happening right now. So yeah, we are dealing with that opposing force that needs to feed off of humanity, and obviously it can't use light energy. Do you get that? Like, it can't use positive energy, it can't use good things, it can't use anything good. It needs darkness, it needs bad energy. So it needs the pain of human beings to thrive. It needs the pain of human beings to survive. That's what we've been dealing with. That's why there have been so many wars in this world. That's why there have been so many people dying and suffering for absolutely no reason. Understand this, it's human beings who are in control of the world right now. And it's human beings who are setting up economic policies. It's human beings who are authorizing wars, who are selling weapons to other human beings and all of that. It's human beings who are saying it's okay for other human beings to exist in a state of scarcity. All right. So who are those human beings serving? Who are they serving? That's the warfare that we are fighting. All right. I'm sure many of you are very much aware of this that I've just shared with you, right? This is getting longer than I actually anticipated, but hey, it is what it is. This is important information that we need to exchange with each other, right? So, yeah, it's not for us to panic. It's not for us to panic. We are the divine human spirit. Even if they take our bodies, even if they kill us, well, it doesn't matter. Even if we die, whatever it is that happens, that cannot change who we are at our core. We are the divine human spirit, infallible. We don't die. The flesh can die, but we don't die. You can't touch spirit. You can't touch spirit. All right. So let all fear go. Let fear dissipate right now. All right. We've won this battle. We've won. This is what Christ came to do, to demonstrate to human beings that we not only can we win this battle, but it has already been won. So even as we enter, or even as we engage in any kind of warfare, we are doing it knowing that we have already won. So this information that I'm sharing with you right now, I'm sharing with you so that you can know your victory. All right. How do we win this war? We've already won it. So first and foremost, let's know that. But the first point that I want to share with you is this one. You know it? Healing and integration. Very important. We need to heal and integrate. We are not going to win this war from this, perspective, or in this particular dispensation and lifetime as human beings, right? Without healing and integrating. Over millennia, we've been accumulating traumas, pain, not only for ourselves as individuals, but as the collective. The blood that has been spilled all over the place, innocent people, innocent or not, it doesn't matter, but the blood that has been spilled of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people all over the world, that blood needs to be cleared. That the energy of those kind of things that have transpired over millennia, it needs to be cleared. We need to heal. We are carrying it with us in the same way that we get to benefit from what Christ has done. We also get affected by the negative things that have happened in the world. All right, so now we need to basically clear that energy. So if you are feeling, for example, right now in your life, all right, fear, if you are dealing with fear, anxiety, confusion, stress, frustration, anger, depression, I mean, the list is endless. All these negative sensations and emotions, as long as you have those emotions, at work in you, and they've been happening, you've been experiencing them for many years, or for many months, for a long time, then that's a signal for you that it's time to detox. It's time to do a spiritual detox, a cleansing, right? A clearing up of energy, right? It's time to heal. It's time to reconcile, because the reason why you are feeling that, and you're not the only one that's feeling it, majority of human beings are feeling it right now because of the pressure that's coming up from the opposing forces, and the pressure that's also coming up from the cosmic and light forces. You would, chances are, be feeling very, very strong sensations right now. So you want to clean, you want to clear the energies, you want to process them, you want to release the stuck, murky energies, right? You want to clear them, the pain, the hurts from the past, all the things that have gone wrong in the past, all the burdens, emotional, psychological burdens that you might be carrying, that has to do with certain experiences that you have had. It's time to, clear them up, to release. So this is when you consult your psychologist, your psychotherapist, your counselor, or whoever, anyone that's going to help you to, professional basically, to help you deal with it. That's all good. You are also welcome to deal with someone like myself, a spiritual practitioner, who will help you to clear the energies, to work through all of that, to release. And then you are also welcome to deal with, like a friend or a relative, or, someone that personally. If you can't afford to get paid help, then you talk to someone, someone close to you, and you get assistance. I just want to issue a disclaimer to anyone that's going to be holding space for someone else. But before I do that, let me speak to the person that's going to be asking for help first. If you want anyone to help you, first and foremost, tell them that you are needing help with an issue. You want to talk to someone about an issue that is pressing and it's a heavy issue, and then find out if they have the capacity to hold that space for you, because you don't want to impose yourself and your big problems on someone else who's barely coping themselves with their own challenges. So the person has to be able to say, they need to have the right to be able to say, okay, fine, I can hold the space for you, or, what, I'm sorry, I love you, I care about you, but not right now. Okay, then you can try someone else. Give people permission to do that. All right, you don't just dump. And then I want to talk to the people who are going to be helping others. So if you are going to be helping a friend or a loved one or anyone, troubleshoot through issues, be very careful when you do that, to not just, be dumped. There's this thing called spiritual dumping. I call it that. When someone just basically dumps all their problems on you without even warning you. It's like a conversation can start with one thing, and then the next thing it has taken a direction to a point where now it's like you have to comfort this person and have the time. Maybe the person is not even comfortable, it's not consolable. You give them solutions and they keep coming up with all the reasons why the solution is not going to work or why it might work, but then something else is going to come up, or all these new problems that just keep popping up every time you are supposed to be wrapping things up. So you want to be careful when offering help to other people, especially from a like loved one perspective, like if it's a friend or someone. You want to be careful because some people do have the tendency, out of unconsciousness, of course, to dump. They're just dumping on you. They're not really looking for a solution. They're not really trying to come out of the problem. They're not really trying to do the work to go higher, to go to a higher vibrational frequency. No, they're not really interested in that. They enjoy the dark, murky, stuck energies that they are swimming in. And basically, they're asking you for help is really asking you to come and swim with them in their dark, low vibrational frequency state. You want to avoid that. You want to avoid those kind of people. And as I said, you will know them because the solutions that you will present to them, whatever recommendation, whatever help you will try to give them, they will always find a reason to, cause even more problems. And then also, you that's going to go out and ask for help, you need to make sure that you find the right kind of help. You're not just going to get just anyone to talk to you, to troubleshoot issues with you, and work through the energies with you. You're going to make sure that you get someone who's equipped to handle whatever issue that you're dealing with, who is able to hold the space for you and shine a light on that challenge. Because also you don't want to find yourself sharing your issues with someone who's going to only just be dragging you in the mud and just making your situation to feel and to even become way worse than it actually is, right? So those disclaimers are very important in this day and age that we are living in, because we are living, we are in in the middle of war. This is a spiritual war. So this war is not going to be fought with the typical tools that any other war has, would typically be fought with, right? So let's look at the second one, which is forgiveness. So I actually call it forgiveness fest, because for the whole month, what you're going to do is go through that thing called forgiveness fest. You're going to forgive every thought. You're going to forgive every emotion. Okay. I mean, you can look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. I've been doing a forgiveness fest for over 3 months, I think. I think it's been 3 months. I'm not quite sure. But I know I did it for a full month, and it was a while ago. I'm not going to tell you when, but it was a while ago. And yeah, you can see, like, I mean, I feel light. Yeah, I feel amazing. Are there issues happening in my life? Of course, there are issues that are happening in everyone's life. We are in the middle of war, right? But I've got something that this world can never ever take away from me. Okay. I went through my Christ initiation. All right. All right. So that's what's going on here. You're going to forgive, like how Christ did it, right? Because he's the great example for us. Forgive them, for they know not what they are doing. That means you're forgiving those thoughts, you're forgiving those emotions, good or bad. You're forgiving them because, well, you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know where they're going, because thoughts and emotions are the ones that create reality, right? So you want to purify them before they go out there. That's why. And if they are going to destroy anything, you've neutralized them with forgiveness, right? And then also, the wonderful thing about forgiveness is that it also neutralizes opposing forces that are working against you. All right. Because, and it's so beautiful, I love it. So it's like the opposing forces oh yeah, it's like, so you forgive, you neutralize everything that could potentially come out of the thoughts and the emotions that you are feeling, and then you're also neutralizing anything that could be coming from external forces that would be coming at you. Remember, the opposing forces, in order to attack you, they need to find you guilty of something. That's why the opposing force, according to Christianity, is then called the devil, right? And it's called the accuser of brethren. That's the prosecutor. It's a spiritual prosecution, and then what it does, is that it prosecutes you in its own little laws, according to its own little laws, and then it finds any negative energy that you might be harboring within yourself, and it uses it as a loophole to basically slide in anything that will either drag you further down with your vibrational frequency, so that you are either going to further be guilty of something, some spiritual law, or you are, going to, whatever it is that would have been found out would be the very thing that you become guilty of, right? And then that becomes the loophole for opposing forces to either attack your life or attach themselves to you. So with forgiveness, you are literally just sorting all of that out. You are cleaning all of that up. All right. So things are getting a little bit dark here. Let me just make sure that I finish, so that, this video is not too dark. So forgiveness first, very, very important, very important. I mean, it will definitely, like, after a month, you will feel the lightness of it, because within a month, or in this that cycle of a month, the month carries your whole life in it, right? The month carries your whole life, and so within that month, you are able to literally clear up all the the murky energies, the stuck, the dirty junk from the past. You are able to clear them all up. All right. And so it's so beautiful, because it's like, oh, wow, that whole month, you feel good, because you have not contributed towards the attack of humanity, right? There isn't any negative energy that's coming from you that the dark forces are using to serve their agenda against humanity. So you know that you've played your part, for yourself as an individual and for the collective as well. So that's just how beautiful it is. I'm loving it. I love it. I love it. Oh, forgiveness is amazing. So that's that. Okay, so you heal, you integrate. I didn't talk about integrating, right? I spoke about healing, talking to someone, and so forth. But integrating really is, you have to engage in spiritual processes that will help you to remember who you are. You want to connect to your divine purpose. You want to connect to your purpose, your blueprint as an individual. What it is that you are here to do. What are you here to do? You want to connect with that, and you want to start doing it. Please don't be deceived into believing that you are just a number. And I'm not saying that you're here to do some extraordinary thing there, to go to space or do anything like that. No, no, no. You could really much just, even be fulfilling your purpose right now. And so all you need to do is just, to check and be like, okay, fine, I'm good. And how you do that is, you can check your numbers, for example, your numerology. You can consult people that are able to do things like regression therapies and things like that, where they do those hypnotherapies and help you to connect to your previous lives, or other lives and things like that. You can do that. Or you can just engage in meditative practices that will just help you to connect to the Akashic records, right? Because when you get access to those ones, also you can still get access to your very own individual records, and then that will help you to to know, just to know. And really, if you are at peace, if you are fulfilled, if you feel fulfilled, there's something about spirit that you know spirit is involved in something, in an aspect of your life, when there's peace, right, about that aspect. There will be great peace about it. You will be content. Whatever it is that you're doing, you could just be an ordinary person, just living an ordinary life, nothing extraordinary there, but you could be in so much peace. That is telling about the fact that, oh, okay, you are in alignment, you are good, you are good. All right. It's important for us to integrate, and integrating is really falling into place, right? Like just basically remembering, putting the pieces together of who you are. The reason why that's important is because when the pieces are together, it's literally like when you put a train on its rail, right? As opposed to putting a train on the highway. Okay, because if you put the train on the highway, you know that's going to be a disaster, right? You are not safe there as a train on the highway. So if you are a train, you want to be on the rails, on the railway. And then if you are a car, you don't want to be on the railway. You want to be, that's what I'm talking. That's why it's important to know who you are. And then yeah, I mean, if you're a bird, you don't want to be in the sea. That's what Michael Beckwith said. I'd rather call him Reverend Michael. So yeah, you want to be in a territory that is conducive and supportive of who you are, and you can only do that when you know who you are. And this is not something that you can trust other people to do for you. And then not because they might have bad intentions, but because you will know you better, right? Let's do the last one before I let you go. Okay. Number 3, the mental shift. We all, are challenged to go through a mental shift. We need to embrace a different perspective of life. It has to be a different one from the one that we've been carrying all along. All right. This is going to be a dimensional shift like no other. It's very, very exciting times that we are really existing in right now. Very exciting. And so we are literally being challenged to begin to see ourselves as God sees us, to see life as God sees us, because that's how we're going to transcend the current dispensation. We are not going to transcend it through, weapons of mass destruction. We're not going to do it that way, because those ones, they don't work. Remember, they only end at the 4th dimension, right? But that's not where we're going. Where we are heading, is to connection with source, right? With God himself, and so God is spirit, and those who come to him will come to him in spirit and in truth, right? And we are now living in a dispensation of spirit. So how we win this war is through spirit. So everything that I've shared with you, it seems like it's just, minuscule or trivial things that have to do with you dealing with yourself as a person. But really, everything that I've mentioned now, that takes away the power of the opposing forces. All right, because they can only maintain their power over humanity as long as humanity is disconnected to its own power. So through this 3 points that I've shared with you, you as a human being will be able to connect to your own power. And then by connecting to your own power, you are automatically disconnecting from the power that the lower forces has, has been having over you, if we should put it that way. But really, the lower forces or the opposing forces, what they have been doing is siphoning off your power. That's why you want to disconnect. Humanity needs to disconnect ASAP from this, from an energetic perspective. I'm not saying let's do any kind of mass protest or anything like that. No, this is an internal spiritual protest that we are doing. We are saying, nope, I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm not engaging in war anymore. All right. That's how we wage a spiritual warfare, by refusing to engage in war. I'm going to participate only in love. That's what I'm going to be doing. If I'm going to be in an environment where all I'm doing is fighting, then I don't want to be there. That's just how it's going to be. You get what I'm saying? So you are going to be that clear about how you are basically going to be dealing with this. And to get to that point, you want to do a lot of work. You know, Jesus Christ didn't do what he did, simply by just living a normal life. And living a normal life, there's nothing wrong with living a normal life, but I'm talking about a normal life in terms of, like, he never prayed, never meditated, never connected to his spiritual aspect and all of that. You get what I'm saying? So you want to do those exercises, you want to meditate, you want to, you know strengthen those muscles, those spiritual muscles, right? So that, when you are pressed, you will be able to, turn the other cheek and things like that, because you'll be provoked to war. That's the whole idea of this whole thing. And if you ever get provoked, don't let guilt and shame suck you in also. You just pick yourself up and you just keep going. You forgive, you release the murky energies, and you rise up, you keep going. All right. Oh, I know this is definitely going to benefit you. I can just see you. I can just see you 3 years from now, 5 years from now. You have fought your battle, you have come out victoriously, and you are standing tall. You are owning yourself, you are owning your life. You are connected with the true source of power, which is God, which is spirit, which is divinity, which is source, which is all isness. All right. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm so, so excited for you. I'm excited for myself. I'm excited for humanity. There has never been a better time than today. And I am so grateful to be sharing this moment with you. Thank you so much. Stay blessed. Remember, consciousness is the new frontier. Until next time, it's bye from me.